Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome you to the ToyotaReach event. My name is Suben Woodley, and in my capacity as Senior Vice President Corporate Services for Toyota South Africa, I'm in the fortunate position of having corporate social responsibility fall under my portfolio. I would also like to think that it's the business with the human face. So then, with my CSR hat on, Thursday, August the 20th is an important day for us because it affords us the opportunity as a corporate to make a real difference in the lives of many South Africans. I say this because Toyota South Africa has signed a memorandum of agreement with the KZN Department of Health and eThekwini to provide a comprehensive and sustainable COVID-19 related relief package under the ToyotaReach banner. Before we elaborate on what this package entails, I'd like to ask Andrew to explain how the ToyotaReach initiative came about. Sadly, due to business unusual circumstances that we find ourselves in, we could not host you on site. So, the inserts that you will now see were recorded earlier today at the official signing and handover ceremony attended by senior members of the KZN Regional Government and eThekwini.
Our ToyotaReach initiative was inspired by something called Kokoro Hakobu, which means delivering warm-heartedness in Japanese. It's a collective name for nationwide initiatives undertaken by Toyota in Japan over a number of years to provide ongoing and long-standing support to individuals affected by natural disasters, which are very prevalent in that part of the world. And these include floods, earthquakes, and of course the most recent disaster that has struck every corner of the globe, being the COVID-19 pandemic. This direction has been fueled by the company's desire to contribute in some way, but not only helping those who have contracted COVID-19, but also by rendering assistance to the medical professionals as well as central and local governments in Japan fighting the disease night and day. The Kokoro Hakobu project has been the driving force behind these support activities performed by Toyota Group companies and all harmoniously working together for the common good of their fellow man. In South Africa, we had an experience just a few years ago in October 2017 when eThekwini was struck by torrential rain and debilitating floods, and it crippled our production here at this manufacturing plant. The very same day, on the 10th of October, I received a message from Akio Toyoda, the president of Toyota. Akio reminded me of the fact that as Toyota, we always put people first, no matter whether it's our employees, dealers, suppliers in the value chain, or our customers. This even extends to the communities around us. And then only after that should we focus on production and sales recovery with coping with serious disaster situations. To be honest, I was quite taken aback by his heartfelt appeal, and it made me feel humbled, but also inspired that the head of a huge multinational corporation would focus on employees, communities, and our supply chain partners before focusing on our own crisis. One may think that this approach might not be good from a financial sustainability point of view, but it's this principle-centered leadership that focuses externally during a crisis that I believe will continue to be at the heart of our future success. And it's an approach that we adopted in South Africa since the beginning of the pandemic. Well, I'm really proud to announce that in the true spirit of Toyota, our uniquely South African answer to Kokoro Hakobu and Akio's personal request is ToyotaReach.
Andrew then provided us some insight as to how Toyota has approached this pandemic, even before the signing of the MOA today. Let's take a listen.
I'd like to briefly touch on 4 of our most recent CSR projects that relate to the COVID-19 pandemic. The first is our COVID-19 taxi campaign, where we donated more than 65,000 litres of sanitizers and thousands of face masks to the South African taxi industry, while also providing nationwide promotional support in the form of education material. The second project is our Safe to School, Safe to Home project, which focuses on the safety of school children traveling to school and back home in minibus taxis in the Durban South area, where we have 24 schools participating. Prior to the reopening of the schools in early June, Toyota assisted operators and drivers of learner transports with sanitizers, decanting bottles, shared educational pamphlets pertaining to how we could prevent the transmission. Our third initiative was the distribution of school readiness packs. Toyota has supported more than 270 schools in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal with readiness packs, which included face shields for all the educators, sanitizers, education posters, and infrared thermometers. And lastly, the food parcels project, where more than 2,000 food parcels, each containing groceries to sustain a family of 4 for a month, were distributed to communities around the Prospecton planting area in Durban and also the Atlas warehouse in Johannesburg.
We are now getting closer to what this COVID-19 related relief package is, which Toyota is making available. Andrew outlined the 4 initiatives that we will be undertaking in conjunction with the city, regional government, and the KZN Department of Health, which culminated in the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement today and the handover of the Hiluxes that will be used in the fight against the disease. Let's take a look at this.
Under the ToyotaReach banner, I'd like to announce another 4 health initiatives that form part of an ongoing coordinated COVID-19 relief package that we as Toyota South Africa are undertaking in conjunction with the KZN Department of Health and eThekwini. Some of you may be thinking whether this is still warranted since we are now in level 2. The reality is that this disease is not going to miraculously disappear. We want to prevent a flare-up or a second wave spike, which has been the experience in many other countries. And also, the statistics suggest that KZN is not out of the woods yet. So yes, without a doubt, COVID-19 is an ever-present challenge, and we are confident that we can make a difference thanks to a very targeted approach to the problem. The first initiative that Toyota will participate in answers the urgent need to increase testing in the city of eThekwini. And as we know, testing is key to keeping the curve flat. eThekwini will provide the facility, the physical bricks and mortar building for this testing center, as well as the human resources needed to actually conduct the testing. We as Toyota South Africa, together with the following business partners, will provide the necessary laboratory testing equipment, specifically the RNA extraction and amplification equipment. And I'd like to acknowledge our fellow contributors one by one. First of all, from CFO South Africa, represented today by Andrew Venneman, thank you very much. Catalyst South Africa, and we have our Managing Director, Yuji Goto, with us today. Meta Investments, Managing Director Selvin Kona is here as well. Toyota Bushuku South Africa, and is represented here by Managing Director Satoshi Yamanouchi. And Toyota Kasai South Africa, and our MD here is Hironori Ueda. And then lastly, Advic South Africa, and our MD is Yonichi Kobukawa. We also have an additional partners who don't have representations with us today, and they are Toyota Tsusho company in Japan and Iguchi. So we'd really like to thank all of you for supporting this initiative. Without your support, we wouldn't have been able to deliver this level of support. With this equipment, eThekwini will be able to fully kit out a brand new testing center. Once this facility is operational, we will share the details with you. But what we do know is that it will be capable of processing 5,000 additional tests per day. The second initiative falls within the spectrum of hospital facility support. We are proud to announce that we'll be refurbishing and upgrading the pharmacy at the Clarewood Hospital in Mabeni. The Clarewood Hospital has been substantially upgraded with a large number of beds to support COVID-19 cases. And by supporting the infrastructure development at the hospital, we are enabling the efficient utilization of the beds and improving the level of healthcare. We'll also be providing our TPS, or Toyota Production Systems expertise, to design and improve the process flows in the pharmacy to optimize the efficiencies and service levels. The hospital, we are informed, will also remain an infectious diseases hospital in the future, so the infrastructure will form a substantial part of the facility into the future. And I'd like to thank Dr. Moji for supporting us in all the various visits we've had and developing a collaborative effort to support the development of the hospital. Which brings us to the third ToyotaReach initiative, and the most logical fit for us as an automaker. It's pretty hard for us to miss the Hilux on stage with the words COVID-19 tracing unit emblazoned on the side. The KZN Department of Health identified a dire need to conduct contact tracing and testing in rural KwaZulu-Natal. Now, part of the challenge is getting health personnel into these areas. That's where we come in. Toyota sponsored 10 Hilux 4x4 double cab vehicles for 9 months with the express purpose of helping healthcare workers reach these sometimes inaccessible areas in KwaZulu-Natal and to track them down to support the close contacts tracing and the infected individuals. And secondly, also to conduct testing to determine whether further steps are needed to curtail the spread of the disease. And now for the fourth ToyotaReach project, our face shields project. At the start of the lockdown, PPE was very much a hot topic, but the fact that it's no longer trending doesn't mean it's no longer a need. In fact, it came up on the KZN Department of Health's most recent wish list. As you may know, Toyota South Africa has engineered and is manufacturing face shields, of which we have already donated 13,000 to local facilities, such as Prince Mashieni Hospital, Nkosi Albert Lutuli Central Hospital, Addington Hospital, and King Edward Hospital. The call has gone out by the provincial government for assistance for hospitals in 2 areas of KwaZulu-Natal, being Zululand and Amajuba. Toyota will answer the call by providing an additional 50,000 face shields. And as an aside, we have some exciting news that we'll share at another stage of how we'll be able to benefit another SMME by turning this business over to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is in a nutshell our ToyotaReach project, a humanitarian project that kicks off today with funding to the tune of around 15 million rand for 4 initiatives, and we'll later officialize this with a commemorative signing of a memorandum of agreement between Toyota South Africa, the KZN Department of Health, and eThekwini.
This is without doubt a very worthy initiative, and I'm proud to represent a company that puts the interest of humanity above all else. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, as this was an official signing and handover ceremony, we were privileged to have a number of government VIPs in attendance, including the Premier of KZN, Mr. Sihle Zigalala, the MEC for Health in KZN, Mrs. Nomagugu Simelane Zulu, and the HOD for KZN Health, Dr. Sandile Shabalala, and not to be left out, the Mayor of eThekwini, Councillor Kawunda. Let's hear excerpts from their speeches as well.
From the onset, on behalf of the people of eThekwini Municipality, we would like to extend our gratitude and appreciation to Toyota South Africa for being a good corporate citizen by fulfilling your social responsibilities in our province, in our city. This will send a clear message to other private sector companies that being a good corporate citizen is not just an option, but a business imperative for a long sustainability of our companies.
I must firstly, Premier, really appreciate the fact that Mr. Kebi is the one who actually approached the Department of Health and said, as Toyota South Africa operating within the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we want to contribute, and what can we do for you? Now, that is something that you don't see in many big businesses, and I think they deserve a round of applause for just that.
It is extremely pleasing and humbling to see an organization such as Toyota choosing to lend a hand in such an effective and impactful way. For Toyota to make this donation when it has its own been severely affected by COVID-19 pandemic shows its commitment to Ubuntu. It also shows that Toyota appreciates the value of investing in the life and livelihood of our people. Such an investment is an investment on the future of the country. We are quite mindful that for a period of more than a month or 2 months, you were not operating. We are grateful that during that period, you never retrenched your employees. We are thankful that you never even cut salaries you pay them their full salaries, you kept them, and you are now back on full operation. We are grateful for that, and that means you also care for people who are working for you here, and we thank you. That is what we call patriotism.
Thank you for your attention. This wraps up the formal part of the session. You will now have an opportunity to ask questions to Andrew Kirby, as well as our General Manager for Corporate Social Responsibility at Toyota, Jenny Marie. As we'd like to keep this interactive, you will be required to move across to another platform by clicking on the link that will appear on the right-hand side of your screen. I will now hand you over to Clinton Yon, who will facilitate the Q&A session with Andrew and Jenny.